Okay, hey guys, this is Henry here. So this is going to be a completely different video compared to the type of stuff that I normally make. I'm a Mario Kart YouTuber, and my last video did very, very well, which thank you guys so much for that. I truly do appreciate it. But there is a reason why I haven't made any videos in the past month, and it's kind of like an elephant in the room that is pretty hard for me to talk about, honestly, but I need to because I kind of just don't have any other options at this point. I've tried going to different facilities in my city and, different online friends, and, they all just are saying, like, oh, we are unable to at this time, and, or, we don't have the space, or, which is completely understandable, or, like long wait times. But yeah, I need help and I need to advocate for myself. I'm currently in a situation where I'm being abused psychologically, emotionally, and financially by my mom. I haven't really felt any love from her since I was like 11 years old. And it has affected me pretty greatly in life, and I'm tired of it affecting me greatly. And I'm tired of like keeping it inside as well, if you know what I mean, because well, there was something that I was always told by my parents growing up, which was that loose lips sink ships, which that always like irritated me because it made me feel like I was trapped, and like I couldn't talk about the abuse that I was seeing in my house and all this stuff like that. But at this point, my dad has left, and it's just me and my mom now. So, um, I really don't feel like there's much preventing me, and I also don't feel like I have much other choice. So let's just jump straight into it. So again, so sorry for not having made any videos, but I just feel like I feel really drained, and I feel like I can't do anything because of just the psychological and verbal and financial abuse that I've been enduring over the past 6 months primarily, but also just like in general over the past 6 years. And throughout the video, I'll be putting up like different screenshots and stuff like that, and clips of voice recordings and video recordings as well. But the bottom line is that this woman is like actively very dangerous and manipulative, and also like a bully towards me, and I need to escape her grasp and go into contact like as soon as possible. So I'm going to speak very candidly in this video, and I hope that at the very least, me sharing my experience and just talking to this camera, being super duper honest about my life and myself, and this background struggle that I've had to endure whilst also playing Mario Kart Wii, because Mario Kart is very much tied to this, can act as like a beacon for those going through similar abuse, and for people who need some support of themselves. So, yeah, without further ado, guys, I guess I'll just talk a little bit about what narcissistic personality disorder is. So, it's categorized by the National Institute of Health as a mental health condition where people have like a long-term pattern of specific like traits, and the traits are a large inflated sense of grandiosity and like entitlement. So basically just like wanting things like a fancy car or a big house for no other reason other than just like, you know, other people wanting to see it as like, oh, X person has that, status symbol, you understand. Overwhelming need for admiration or praise, profound lack of empathy, which that is the biggest one, and a repeated exhibiting of exploitative behavior. So for pretty much like as long as I can remember, but really ramping up around the pandemic, honestly. My mom has been abusive towards me, and the abuse has primarily been pushed at me from like these four different categories. Uh, if I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really felt like I need love from her since I was like 11 years old. So that would be 2018. And throughout this video, you'll come to see why as I take you throughout my story of like, well, playing MKW, and like, how I kind of found how to talk to people and how to not be like her, through MKW. And also as I just provide like screenshots, text exchanges, audio recordings, video recordings of really just the hell that I've been through growing up. And if you've ever like thought to yourself, oh, Henry US is like weird, or like kind of a basket case, or says some pretty not so normal things, I guess, in the Mogi chat. Well, this is why. I'm just going to be completely honest and look into the camera and say that. Um, you definitely are a product of your environment. That's something that I've learned growing up in this environment. But it's time for me to just be mature and open up about it and ask for help getting out. So a lot of you guys might be able to attest to this. When I was growing up and I was like a little kid, my parents would fight a lot. They would get into arguments about work or politics or just any myriad of reasons, and they would shout at each other. And I had an older brother as well, who he would join in on the shouting as well. It was kind of like an everybody undiagnosed family. And the way that this would like affect me in Mario Kart, which hopefully me opening up about this will allow some people to relate and kind of not feel as bad about their experience, if that makes sense. The way that I would kind of exhaust off my anger that would also be like channeled down to me from these like older figures in my life would be just through the Mogi chat. Like I would just be like on the keyboard. And I got restricted several times. I even ended up being indefinitely restricted a number of times. And I also would get super duper loud when I would tilt, for sure. And like this even extended to where I got invited to like D2, D1 level teams, right? In 2020 and 2021, I was like bagging for Catholic Gaming, KG and Phantasmagoria, and also just like on team, trialing for Team USA in 2020 and stuff like that. But I would still just not make these teams. I'd get kicked out of them just because I was a massive tilter. So it was because of like the stuff that I would hear from my parents, and I would just think that was like okay. It definitely was a very unstable upbringing that I had. I also remember that during this time period when I was like first joining Lounge, I think up to that point I had transferred to like 5 different schools, and then that was in like December of 2017. So after that was like 6th grade, so it's kind of like a good middle marker. I went to another 5 different schools before ultimately, I think that's 10 schools in total, and then I moved to 11 different places. So just like all over the place growing up, there was no shot for me to be supported, and no shot for me to really like do much of anything with my life other than play Mario Kart Wii, which was really dreadful at times, honestly, is the way that I would describe it, especially when I was like in high school trying to like do more things and explore more of myself, and it would just kind of get like shut down by my mom and like her fears or her judgments or whatever.
I wish we could get along like we used to. Unfortunately, your dad alienated you from me 3 years ago.
You think I'm
However, I believe that your plight pales in comparison to Oliver's plight. Full stop. You're sleeping in his bed, in his room, because your dad was supposed to get a divorce and move away from me and Oliver, and he was supposed to ditch us here. Those are the facts. You have watched enough South Park to understand that you're being like Cartman. And if you don't see how you're being like Cartman, then I suggest you YouTube South Park tonight. But instead of being ma'am, it's dad. And you manipulate the shit out of your 60-year-old dad. And you treat your mom like shit on purpose, because then you get whatever the fuck you want from your dad.
About me and whatever
and
I was trying to do, like if I was trying to explore
and myself,
music or
are
computer
tired
science or
That's
just like
why
anything that I tried to do would kind of just be like, oh no, not for this reason because of X, Y, Z or whatever. And it also was kind of just like a constant 2v2 between me and my dad, and then my mom and my brother. And the 2v2 even got so bad to where my dad ended up actually cheating on my mom, and that we found that out in like 2024, in like the summertime, and that was the summer where I was planning to go to college, and so that was like a very pivotal summer for me and my upbringing, obviously, but it never got to happen. I actually ended up getting delayed, not being able to go to school that semester because of that whole fiasco with my dad cheating and getting caught and everything. And that really derailed a lot of my life, honestly. From then on, sorry about the camera shake just then. From then on, I kind of had to pick I thought to myself, well, I have to get out of here, because this is like imploding. My parents, they were still living with each other and still fighting with each other like every day after the whole cheating thing. And so I went over to some like random school in Utah. And I just went there because like my dad's extended family are, from there, and they were like, yeah, you can be here and we'll kind of like help you adjust and stay. Long story short, didn't end up working out. And yeah, now I moved back to New York, which, this is where I'm from and this is where I've grown up for pretty much my entire life, like 15 out of the 19 years that I've been here. And my dad ended up getting really sick after I moved back, and he's had like several seizures, and he also was like getting abused verbally by my mom like a lot, and it would just be a lot of like just kind of really negative talk that I haven't been able to unpack in therapy at all, of like them just yelling at each other, oh, the last 30 years was a waste, and then I'm a byproduct of that 30 years, so it's like, well, what the fuck, guys. It really was very difficult for me growing up, just like everywhere that I went. My older brother would kind of always just tell me very nonchalantly, oh, they're psychopaths, oh, they're completely super mentally ill, whatever. They don't know what they're doing, right? And it's like, what am I supposed to do when I hear that, right? And I'm like 14, 15, I guess from then on I learned how to be like a very independent person. Now I'm enrolled in community college, and I work 2 jobs. But to speak a little bit more on the financial abuse aspect and all that stuff from my mom, yeah, man. She she like just doesn't respect me at all. And I mean, I'll have like stuff on screen now because it's kind of like hard for me to find the words on camera, honestly, even though I like took a bunch of deep breaths and
my heart's beating out
really
of my
prepared myself
chest, bro.
to record this. But yeah, no, she got like this huge settlement from the government. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's like her personal life, obviously, and my family's, but she is a September 11th survivor, because we are native New Yorkers, as you could tell by the shirt I'm wearing. Yeah, so she got like a lot of money in 2024, right? And I had always planned to go to like a small school or community college. That way it wasn't like super expensive for my family and my parents, and well, the assumption was that she was going to help facilitate paying for my community college. This past semester was only I think like $1,650, and she got like I think 100 times that or something. I mean, I don't want to talk specifics, but like much more than that. And she like had promised that she would, and then, well, obviously, as narcissistic parents often do, fell through on that promise, and then kind of like found a way to loop it around and blame it back on me, as in like, oh, I'm just like, you have to work hard for it, like pull yourself up by the bootstraps, like you've always you hear that all the time from parents, and it kind of just like makes you groan. But just kind of to an even like crueler degree, right? Like saying things like, "Oh, you've never done anything without your father's help or without your father's money," and you know, I'll probably have had several of the audio recordings and just the constant screaming and stuff like that at this point up on screen by now. And
I know it's.
yeah, man.
It's not a solution.
I know
Period.
it's not.
And full stop.
I know it's not.
Okay, great.
I have attempted
Good night.
on my own life
Don't ever fucking
because
do
of
that
this
to me
stuff,
again.
but
I'm
you
your
know,
mother.
I'm tired of
I have a right
being
to
kind
feel how
of weak
I
like
feel.
that. I'm tired of you know, being silent, I guess, because I think that when you're in an environment like this, you're kind of taught to be silent, and you're taught that like, oh, these struggles, these problems, they're too dark for the world, you know, so like nobody's gonna come and help you, nobody is gonna come and like be your savior, quote unquote. Nobody's gonna come save you. That's something that I would also hear a lot, and like a lot of people look at me and they, you know, rightfully assume that I'm just a kid. I mean, look at me. I've got no hair on my face, and I've got these nerdy old glasses. But I have been through a lot, and you've come to see that now as I've talked throughout this video. And I've also been through a lot in the Mario Kart community, going from, you know, 0 to the very, very top level, right? And I think that now I'm ready to, as I like grow with this YouTube channel and grow as a person and grow just as like a human being, I'm ready to like leave this environment, because it's just like it's completely, it's not healthy for me, you know. But I can't do it without some help, and it's a little bit embarrassing for me to ask for it, honestly, to ask my community for financial help. I mean, I know that a lot of my viewers are probably struggling to find a job or housing or something themselves, but maybe you guys can share this with somebody who is able to help me, or share this with just the right people, click the right buttons to help me find a new home and get on my feet, because well, I have been appreciating this community for a very, very long time. I've appreciated the people in it for such a long time, and I guess I'm just asking for y'all to help do me one more favor. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. There will be a link in the description to GoFundMe for me to help leave this situation with some more detailed information, as well as all the stuff that I provided in this video, like screenshots and stuff like that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.